morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On the Clock with Personal Living Alert. I'm David, I'm with Personal Living Alert, and today we're going to talk to my friends, Howie and Mindy Schwartz. They own Schwartz Family Home Care, and we're going to talk about what they do, what the industry is all about, and what's going on in the future. So, morning, Howie. Morning, Mindy. How are you guys today?
Okay, and good morning to you on this Wednesday.
Good morning. Nice to be here. Thank you for having us on your show.
Not a problem. I'm glad you guys were able to make it. So, I always try to start this with getting to know everybody and letting everybody else, the audience, get to know you. What's your background and why did you guys get into the senior market?
I'm from New York, and we went to SUNY Binghamton, and I have a business degree, and I was hired by a nursing agency in New York, and that's where I learned the business. I was eventually transferred to Florida, and I determined the nurse registry was the way to go in this market. And it was a natural fit with my wife, Mindy, who's a registered nurse. So that's how we got into it. And we saw the need for a family-owned operation. It's me and her. We're hands-on. We run the business in a very tight manner. And it takes both of us. It takes a business person and a nurse like Florence Nightingale to run a nurse registry correctly.
And speaking of that, today is National Nurses Day and the start of Nurses Week. So to all my fellow nurses and the people out there in the public, just to make awareness of all that nurses do, I think now more than ever, everybody is really appreciating all that nurses do, whether in the hospital and certainly in home health. So that's my howdy in the morning.
I appreciate it, Mindy, and my hat's off to everybody on the front line as well. But so I understand Howie's background, but Mindy, how did you get into the senior market? I mean, I know you're a nurse, but were you always in the geriatric, or was your background a little bit different and you morphed into it? Where'd you come from? What's your history?
So I got my nursing degree from SUNY Binghamton and a master's from the New School in Healthcare Administration, and worked in the hospitals, dialysis. Then I got out of the hospital environment and sold medical equipment. And when we came to Florida in 1992, I worked with Howard at this other company. And then 18 years ago, we decided to go out on our own. I've always done home health, even a little bit in New York before I moved here. And since being here 28 years, I've only done home health, and it's truly my calling.
Excellent. So Howie, you keep talking about your registry. Now, I know what a home health agency is. I'm not 100% sure what a registry is, but more importantly, I don't think regular consumers understand if there is a difference and what that difference might be.
There is a lot of confusion out there, but in Florida, we're similarly licensed by the same entity. We are surveyed and regulated in a very similar way. So a big part of it is what goes on behind the scenes, that the caregivers are independent contractors versus employees. But to the consumer, they get the same type of caregiver regardless of what they used in Florida.
All right, excellent. So now I have a little bit better understanding. I appreciate that. So with COVID-19 out there, how is that impacting, your industry? I mean, you have to have people going to see people on a daily basis. What's the impact?
So, people are choosing to be at home. They need to be at home. A lot of people coming home from hospitals are not going to rehab. They'd rather go home. We have people in assisted living facilities that we provide, we refer caregivers to. And because they're isolated now in facilities, the caregivers are the ones that are with them. So people do need the care, and we are continuing and have been all along to refer caregivers to people in their homes based on what they need. A lot of them live alone, their families are out of state, they're worried about them. And as long as everybody is taking the necessary precautions, we'll continue to service.
All right. So is COVID-19 impacting you? It didn't seem like it was in what you just said.
Oh, no, it is. I mean, from the very beginning of all this, we had to make sure precautions were in place with PPE, the necessary precautions. And as that was evolving, every day or every week, it was another, awareness we had to make sure was in place. So we've made sure all the precautions are in place. And, we have had some people that have tested positive, and we have to run that course.
Yeah. What challenges are you guys coming into now that you might not have had 5 months ago?
I think it's the education to the clients, to families. Families especially are concerned. They're like, should I have help? My mother doesn't have cleaning help anymore, and our caregivers do that. So it's just educating them about, what we're doing, everything that we possibly are aware of, that we're taking those precautions to have the care in place.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of organizations have national governing bodies or associations that they belong to. Is there something like that for registries and agencies? And if so, are they providing you guidance on how to proceed today? Or are you getting it from the CDC? Are you doing it internally based on your knowledge and experience? Where are you getting your guidance from?
We're part of a national association of nurse registries called the PCA, Private Care Association. So we're getting regular updates from them, as well as the CDC and the Department of Health in Florida. We are disseminating that information to the caregivers, our staff. So we have ongoing webinars and training as to the latest situation. And as we know, it's an ongoing changing situation from week to week. We get different direction, different updates. So that's what we're doing.
All right. Now, I know, and you guys live in Broward County. I live in Broward County. I talk to people on the west coast of Florida. I talk to people outside the state of Florida. I know we're a hotspot. We're getting hit pretty hard. And other places aren't. They're getting eased. Some of the restrictions are being let up. Have you been given any indication on easing of restrictions as far as your industry is concerned, or you really haven't heard much about that? Or
I don't see easing restrictions. I think masks and gloves at least are going to be with us for a long time. I know facilities are still, checking temperatures, having caregivers who are coming in from the outside sign off on a questionnaire. I think that's going to be with us, and it should be with us for a long time. And thankfully, masks and gloves seem to be able to be purchased more easily, more readily now than they were a couple of weeks ago. So I think that will be with us for a long time, especially Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, which are the 3 counties that we primarily service.
So you think, and I kind of agree with you, you think the new normal is going to be where your caregivers are going to be going to see whether it's in a private residence or a facility, independent living, an assisted living, or memory care, having a mask up and glove up, and you foresee that to be for the long term, not the short term. Is that correct?
Right. Gloves have been with us for a long time with universal precautions. You assume that everybody can be something. So gloves have been worn for a long time, especially with personal care. The masks, I think, are definitely going to be with us for a while, whether it's a comfort thing or until that vaccine has come about.
Yeah, there's a lot of hope on that vaccine.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I think so too. So, when do you think you guys are going to start living normal lives? Are you going to be comfortable going to a movie theater or, I don't know, a sporting event or dinner or a bar and sitting next to somebody? I mean, are you going to jump right in, or are you going to have a little hesitation about that?
I believe things will open up, and I think a lot of it is the media. I mean, there's always been pandemics. We've had SARS, we've had many different things. So I believe things will slowly open up. And the king of all this is marketing. I already see airlines promoting fly, fly, fly. So I think my opinion is before we know it, the public would have forgotten all this. And especially young people that are invincible. I believe they'll be out the day the beach is open. But I do feel in our population, it's vulnerable and people will be scared for a long time.
You know, I talked to Fabiana, my wife, about going out, and we're just not ready. I don't see us going out to dinner, going to a bar or a movie theater. You know, I mean, I know she's dying to go to a salon and get her nails done and her hair done. I mean, I don't have that issue, but, you know, Mindy could probably relate with the fingers and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, except for things like that, we're not going anywhere, I don't think. Not for probably 6 months to a year, I don't think.
I think we have to look and see how it's being played out in other areas of the country that are starting. And already I'm seeing people walking like without a mask on, like in a mall. So it's concerning. I think it will be a while.
And I'm past due for my haircut.
Yeah, you are. I had mine done the other day. You got my barber does a better job. All right. Well, you know, I truly appreciate you guys getting on with me today. If anybody wanted to call, because, you know, and just get some general information on COVID-19 and what's going on in the world, or if they needed a nurse registry or an aide, I should say, how could they get in touch with you?
Our phone number is 954-598-2000. The easiest thing would be to call and discuss any questions or concerns that people have. We have caregivers we refer in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, and we are open and operating, and people are still needing care, especially people who are more hesitant to go to facilities where it seems like the COVID epidemic has been worse at assisted living, independent, and nursing homes. So more people are choosing to stay at home.
And give our website.
And our website, schwartzfamilyhomecare.com.
Right. And we do service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties here in Florida. And we're happy to be a resource for people, whether just to pick our brains or any other issues. You know, we advocate, you know, we are willing to help out.
I truly appreciate that. I'm sure everybody else does. All right. Thank you very much for being on. Truly appreciate it. Stay safe, my friends. And hopefully in the next 6 weeks, I might be able to see you face to face.
Yes, let's hope.
Thank you, David.
Thanks. You take care.
You too.